Hello again, and welcome to this special edition of Trans Truth. I am your host, Kelly Nelson, she, her, hers, joined as always by...
I'm Jerry Ann, and my pronouns are also she, her, and hers.
And we call this a special edition because we had to throw it together real quick. We were late to the party, I'm afraid, but we're here now, and joining us are the organizers of Katy Pride, the first ever Katy Pride Festival, which is happening, let's see, a week from tomorrow. Ladies, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Amanda Rose. I'm the president of Katy Pride, and my pronouns are they, them.
Welcome to Trans Truth, Amanda.
Thank you.
I'm Heather Tollison, and I'm the vice president of Katy Pride and pastor of First Christian Church in Katy. My pronouns are she, hers.
Well, okay. Like I said right up front, we were late to the party. I don't know how this didn't hit our radar sooner, but we reached out to the organizers of Katy Pride and asked if, we could get a spot there at the festival and set up our remote recording studio and do a podcast from there. And they quickly said yes, and here we are. So thank you very much for making that available to us.
Of course. We're glad to have y'all.
We've done a few of these remotes now, and basically completely unscripted. We just grab whoever's passing by or wants to talk to us, and those have been absolutely our best episodes, wouldn't you say, Jerry Ann?
Oh, without a doubt, absolutely.
So how big do you expect this to be, or do you have any idea?
I mean, in reality, it's the first one, so we don't have something or numbers to base it off of.
Yeah.
But we're aiming and hoping for about 1,500 people. That's what we've been planning for. I really believe, especially if the weather stays as good as it's supposed to be, that we will exceed that. And we'll see more people there than we probably have planned for, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that's been kind of rolling around in my head, a question to ask is, why hasn't this happened before in Katy?
I think the timing is just right now. Katy is a super diverse community that's rooted in a deep history of small town culture. And we sometimes skirt over that diversity. And I think that's what's been happening in Katy. And actually, since COVID, there's just been so much movement, especially in the grounds of LGBTQIA plus community and inclusion in our school district, and all that students in our school district have been doing, and others, that's just sort of snowballed into what is now Katy Pride, which will be not just this celebration, but an organization that really strives to promote community and creating community that's safe for all people, but also education and advocacy in the local community, so that we can educate our community and educate one another on the rights that we have in our community. And so the timing is just perfect right now for what Katy Pride will be.
I love hearing that word, education. That's kind of what we're all about, because all of the negative things we see are there because of ignorance, a lack of understanding. And whenever I use that word ignorance, I don't mean it in the pejorative sense at all. They just don't understand.
It's a lot of misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
And just not communication. And so I hope that what I think has happened in the past 2 years, especially, is small pockets of people have been giving voice to the queer community in Katy. And so Katy Pride has really come to birth from that, and will hopefully continue to amass more people who are going to give voice to the queer community and make some significant change in Katy.
Well, let's hope it's a success, and all, and everything that you're planning and hoping it to be. But I have to ask about the an event that y'all held a while back. That was a trans bingo event, I think, and you had some pretty serious pushback.
Yeah, last September, so September of 22, First Christian Church in Katy held their first drag bingo event. There were 2 shows, one early evening and one a little bit later. And that brought 500 of our closest friends from every belief imaginable that were out there to protest the event, believing that we were harming youth, harming minors, sexualizing them. And the great thing and all that came from that and those protesters is it actually was another sign that the LGBTQ community in Katy needs to have a beacon of light on them, because there's a need there. The community is there. There's members of the community, lots of members of the community in Katy. And so that just really was a proof point, actually, in that situation that people could see as really negative. It really actually continued the fire to let the church, FFC Katy, be a trailblazer, which through their actions has really birthed Katy Pride.
Well, we should talk about the church since that's such a central part of this, but I'm going to hand that off to Reverend Jerry Ann.
Well, ladies, first of all, I need to say that what Kelly and I do is for the sake of human rights and social justice. And we work very hard at communicating the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And so, anyway, we've actually done an episode that touched on religion and especially Bible. But tell me how your church evolved to be so inclusive, because historically, First Christian churches were fairly conservative.
So we are part of the Disciples of Christ denomination, which is a congregational structure of churches, which means it's bottom up. Every congregation has the right to discern who God is calling them to be in their community. So there is a lot of diversity. You're right, Jerry. There's a lot of diversity in our denomination, and you will find congregations that are super, what we call open and affirming, and others that aren't. So about 10 years ago, FCC Katy intentionally named and claimed or called that we would be an open and affirming congregation, which means we don't discriminate on the bias of anything, and that is sex, gender, sexuality, gender expression, identity, physical limitations, anything that might separate us or that we as people in society might box together or separate people, right? And even then we discovered a real need in the Katy area for the LGBTQ community and how we were an expression. Not just that there wasn't anything happening in the Katy community, but we really intentionally felt like God was calling us to be the leaders of inclusion in Katy. And so this has been more than a decade actually's worth of work, but called and claimed for the past 10 years, the specific intent of First Christian Church Katy. And before COVID, we really began to see kind of an amassing of people who were looking for church that might not look like every other church on every street corner, right? And so in 2019, one of the things we launched was our Transparent Closet, which is a free clothing boutique for trans and gender exploring teens and young adults, so that we have everybody who can come to it. And that was really a pivotal takeoff point. It was the first sort of intentional outreach, I would say, of the congregation in our community. And COVID hit actually just a couple months after we launched it, but we continued to be open by appointment through COVID. And then as we come out of COVID, students in Katy ISD began to shed light on the fact that Katy ISD was banning Trevor Project from campuses and not allowing people to access it, and including book bans. And so as COVID was winding down and people were beginning to enter back into culture a little bit more like they had been prior to COVID, we began to be able to group together and do some work in Katy community. And so we have always always seen the expression of God's love to be a love for all people, right? Jesus didn't come for us, we're Christians, so Jesus didn't come and discriminate or limit. In fact, he's sat with people who weren't in power. And so we really feel called to continue to sit with marginalized communities. And in Katy, one of the most marginalized communities is our queer community. And especially now, as you see things come out of the legislative session, banning trans healthcare rights for youth, as you see things like DEI disappearing from colleges and probably eventually other schools, as you see book ban policies, as you see bans and limitations on drag art, and then most notably, as you see the current or latest policy that our school board put into effect, right? The gender fluidity
Oh,
matters
God, yes. Yeah.
policy, which requires teachers to out students who dare to come out or ask to use a different pronoun, right? Like, in fact, I just said earlier tonight, I'm in a group of clergy folks. We are on retreat, leaders in our congregations, and we were talking about things. And I said, I truly believe that First Christian Church Katy has been led to this moment to be a leader in the Katy community when it comes to advocating for queer rights for such a time as this. We've been doing this work for 10 years so that we can get to this point right now. And I know you brought up the September protest, but really, you know what that did was it gave us a national and local platform in news media to expose and shed light on things that were coming in Katy and happening in Katy. And additionally, almost a call to action. So since September, the fury and buzz in Katy has just been more about like-minded folks coming together and doing something to affect change in our community. So we have all sorts of people who are members of our congregation, but we've actually become kind of an epicenter for people of all faiths, of no faiths, from atheists to Buddhists to Jewish people to Muslims to Christians, who are all coming together to do something in Katy, which is also how Katy Pride then came to give birth, because it's something much larger than just our individual congregation. And our church, FCC Katy, is thrilled to support it and continue to lead the charge in advocacy and education in developing queer rights in the Katy community. But we're so thankful to be able to help build an organization that's going to continue making a difference in truly allowing the diversity of Katy to give voice to the lack of rights and to educate in places of misinformation in the Katy community when it comes to queer rights.
Well, with all this love and acceptance, inclusion, and clothing people, sounds like somebody in Katy is acting a lot like Jesus.
I think you might be right, and I think it's definitely more than one person. It's a good amount of people, so we're lucky to be here in this time.
I have to say, well, first of all, 10 years, that's something to be proud of on its own, but taking that pushback you encountered in September and managing to turn it around to give yourself a bigger platform, a larger megaphone, that is something to be proud of as well. So good on you.
Thank you.
So I'm just curious, have you had any pushback from more conservative congregations in the Katy area?
Yes and no. Let me say this. So one thing that has happened that I think is super positive, we're not trying to change churches. So much of what church does is in the DNA of a congregation and the pastoral leadership of a congregation and the leadership of their churches. But what has happened since September is that there are a few congregations in Katy that have been discerning how to be more open and affirming or an inclusive church. And those congregations have reached out. And guess what? We have started to network and resource one another and help one another. In fact, there will even be another congregation from Katy at Katy Pride. It is not just an FCC Katy event. And what if anything, those events in September taught us is that we are just stronger together. We are a more diverse community than ever before. And it's only in the strengths of that diversity when we come together to do work that we are actually a strong Katy community.
I think they're doing something right, Jerry Ann. Maybe a
I
bunch
think
of
so.
somethings. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sound like they're going to be gathered on the right hand of the king, looking at the goats over across the way.
So, tell us. We don't want to keep you because I know it's late. You're in the Eastern time zone, but what's going to be on offer at the first ever Katy Pride Festival?
We're super excited. So at Katy Pride, which is October 14th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., being held at First Christian Church Katy, we have 60 some vendors. The number keeps changing. So I don't like 63, 64, something like that, different
Outstanding.
vendors.
Wow.
And it's super outstanding. And those are things where you can find your favorite Pride items. There's also a lot of education and advocacy. We have some civic groups coming out. We're hoping to have some of the high school GSAs out there as well, promoting themselves, participating in a chalk contest that participants in Katy Pride get to vote on, and then Katy Pride will give some money back to the winning high school GSA, kind of like a people's choice. We'll have some local entertainment. We'll have a DJ. We have a local street performer. The Transparent Closet at FCC Katy is going to do a fashion show about midday, which is something that church does to raise money for the Transparent Closet. We have some political people that are there and want to speak for a few minutes. So we have a lot of food. We have food trucks that are going to be there. We're going to have a kid zone with inflatables. Just a lot of fun things going on, because our hope for the festival is that it's community based, and that's what we want. We want it to be community. The support has been great, and the one thing I definitely want to mention is almost all of our sponsors are actually local businesses. They're not, we have a few, big corporations, but most of them that has gotten us to where we are, because we started with $0, are local businesses that have said, yes, I want to support you. I want to support this. This is needed. We want to be a part of this. And so that is really refreshing. And that's what keeps the energy going, because it's really community driven, which is exactly what we want. We want everyone to come. Even people that are not members of the community. I firmly believe the LGBTQ community in Katy and everywhere really, but specifically for Katy, is stronger when there's people not in the community are there showing support. Our allies are there saying that we believe in you, you're valued, we love you, and we stand beside you. So it's very family friendly, lots of just fun, joy filled. I want people to have a joy filled afternoon and really believe like this is my area. There's pride in my town, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, again, I am impressed and maybe a little intimidated. I think I feel inadequate, Jerry Ann. We got a tent and a bowl of candy.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll get people. You will get people for sure. You will get people. It's going to be a good time. It really is right now. I mean, we're a week out, but the weather looks like it's going to be beautiful. And we all know when the weather is good, that draws even more people. And at the same time, I mean, I'd be amiss not to say this. What's going on concurrently is First Christian Church Katy has a pumpkin patch that is free for everyone to come and walk through. I mean, you got to pay for your pumpkins if you want a pumpkin and buy it. But it's free to walk through, have that family fun that couple's fun or that single friend fun, whatever the case may be. And that's going on at the exact same time as the Pride Festival. So it really is going to be an amazing, joy-filled and also an impactful day.
Jerry Ann and I, like I said, have done a few of these things. And one of the things that always impresses us is the atmosphere at a Pride event. Everybody's happy. Everybody's smiling. There are very few community events that have that level of, what's the word for it?
Joy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly that. So with that in mind, there's probably at least one person that's listening, that will be listening to this, that's on the fence. And it doesn't, maybe they want to be an ally, but they're, concerned about what people might think of them, or they don't know anything about the community, but they'd like to find out. What would you say to them?
I would say come on out. You are welcome. It really is a community place where everyone is welcome and wanted. So, and I think one of the ways, if you're someone who is, I want to learn more, I'm unsure, one of the ways to learn is to come and be a part of it. Be that ally, walk through, learn about the different organizations that are out there to support members of the community, as well as just whether you're a part of the community or you're an ally, like learn about what is out there. I like to say often people don't know what they don't know. So if you're someone and you're unsure, come out. If you get there and you're like, this is not my atmosphere, then don't stay. That's a personal choice of yours. But I guarantee that if you come out and you give it a chance, you won't want to leave.
I think that's all I've got. How about you,
Yeah,
Jerian?
I just want to elaborate on something that you said, Carly, about people being happy at these events. I think it's more than that. We see people just being real, being themselves, and
Yep.
living their truth. And there's a power and a joy in that people just that don't experience that, don't understand. But that's what we see at these LGBT plus activities.
Yeah, because people are happy. They're able to be their authentic selves without judgment, without shame, because of the environment that is created.
What a concept.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. We are
Thank
so
you.
honored to be a part of the first ever Katy Pride event happening
We
a
are looking
week.
forward to seeing you.
Yeah, happening a week from tomorrow, the 14th of October.
Yep, we appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to be on. Thank you.
All right. Well, we will surely talk to you then as well. Until then,
Bye,
happy
Amanda.
trails.
Bye. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much,
Bye,
y'all. Have a
Amanda.
great night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.